Hey, welcome to X3 One Topic, Three Pundits, myself included as pundit number one. I'm here with Joe Engo and Andrew Eisner, and we're going to discuss a new announcement that came out. It's actually not really an announcement, but there's a new website you can go to at Lytro, Lytro.com, and take a look at what they have to show you, which is a light field imaging system, which is not a new idea, but one that this company believes with some venture capital money. I am skeptical, by the way. And I'm simply the only one who's skeptical. I've got a bunch of people looking into it.
No, I'm pretty skeptical as well.
Okay, good. Yeah. Finally, somebody else. But Andrew, you're a big fan of this idea.
Well, you know, it's nothing that new. They actually call the field Plen optics, and basically the idea is that they put micro lenses in front of the sensor, and they get then light from different fields. So it's sort of, you know, the depth of field solution. The problem is the typical camera can't keep everything in focus, so they think they've solved that with this, you know, micro lens system, and you can actually go in and after you take the picture, if you forgot to focus on something, you can refocus the image, which is pretty cool. And they're, you know, they call it, it's sort of like 4D. I mean, it actually could have applications in 3D.
Have you ever seen one of these arrays? They're huge, the size of the table.
Yeah, so that could be a problem.
And they claim to be able to put it in, they're going to have a camera, a little camera, and they have demos of it online, and I'm not sure that the demos aren't jury-rigged.
No.
Well, I did look at Wireshark. I looked at the actual traffic going back and forth, and it loads a thumbnail image, so you see that in, like, you know, Charles or like one of those proxy programs. But then looking at the actual data going across the wire, there's an LFP file, which I've never heard of before, but it's got a JSON data at the beginning which describes a little bit about what the image is. And then it just has this binary data underneath it. So it looks like it is actually a real image that you can shift the focus in. But
actually, I think the interesting trend that this brings up is the combination of software and imaging. So, because it's really, I think the difference is that makes this possible. And this actually came out of a team at Stanford. This guy, Ang, who started, you know, Lytro, is actually part of this team at Stanford that developed this light field camera. But the key thing is that you have enough processing power built into either a camera or a smartphone now that you can sort of do the post-processing on these images, which require a lot of manipulation and some, you know, complicated algorithms to actually, you know, change the focus and everything.
Would it be possible to take the light field image with the camera and the micro lenses and then process them off the camera on a piece of hardware that's got some oomph?
Well, you know, possibly, but there's a lot of data, and a lot of pixel data going in.
It seems to me that this is basically like the way holograms are made when they shoot a couple lasers and they just collect a bunch of data, flat light data, and then they piece it together by reversing the process. Yeah. And it seems to me that what you want to do with this is you collect all this data, and it's all, maybe there's a lot of little micro images and whatever, and then you send it off to be processed someplace else.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you get your images.
It
seems like a complicated. Yeah. I mean, I don't need it. Yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can get a camera that has good fast focusing, and I can change the setup so its focus is you know, and gives me a real wide range if I want everything focused or just something mildly focused. I don't see why I would want this. I don't take pictures. Oh my God, I didn't focus it. Yeah. I usually take a bunch of pictures, and usually one of them is the way I want it.
Well, usually the people have trouble with that. They have their camera on auto, and they don't know how to use the camera at all. So,
so now we're going to give them a real complicated product.
The trade-off is aperture, too. For instance, you know, if you wear glasses or if you ever want to focus something, just make a tiny aperture with your hand, and you'll see all of a sudden everything's in focus. So it's just like a camera. Smaller aperture means more things are in focus, and this one allows you to take leave the aperture open, take low light, and then refocus things. So it's a pretty neat concept, and again, I think the whole thing is software and imaging, and it's just like what's happening in some of these point-and-shoot cameras now, where they have all these modes. Have you seen all these new modes? They have like happy mode, where it brightens up the saturation.
They got all kinds of stuff.
I mean, unbelievable.
They got art on the Olympus cameras that turns into a poster and does all kinds of weird things.
So it's just, you know, software meets the camera.
But this is like another thing. But if you're a photographer, you want control. You don't want a light field image because, like, for example, I might want to zoom in on something. Well, I could have a light field image and then zoom in on something, but it'd be limiting my total number of pixels. It wouldn't be that clear, as opposed to a zoom lens, which would go right in. I don't think this is going to be doing stuff like that with these cameras.
Yeah, I don't see professional.
So you
I'm
think
not
it's
seeing-
more of what they call a solution in search of a problem?
I would say that. Yeah, that's
okay.
exactly the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens. At the moment, I'm not convinced.
Skeptical.
I'm skeptical. You've been watching X3.